I mean, yes, I can assure that we complied with the statute, we complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody.
Legal compliance achieved, but full transparency is still elusive.
We have released, there are a small number of documents, as I said on Friday, that we're waiting for a judge to say we're allowed to release because of a protective order. But this review is over.
Jeffrey Epstein's name continues to resurface because his story was never fully resolved. He was not a celebrity, politician, or public leader, yet he had extraordinary access to the world's most powerful people. His life exposed a hidden layer of influence where wealth, connections, and silence intersect. Even years after his death, the public remains unsettled because the full truth never came out. Epstein's case represents more than personal crimes. It highlights systemic failure, unanswered questions, and mistrust in institutions meant to protect the vulnerable. This unresolved nature is why his name keeps trending and why his story refuses to disappear from public conversation. Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, into a middle-class family with no notable power or wealth. His upbringing was largely unremarkable, and there were no early signs that he would later move among global elites. He attended college but did not complete advanced degrees that would normally lead to high-level financial careers. This ordinary beginning makes his later rise even more puzzling. Unlike many influential figures, Epstein did not inherit status or build a public reputation early in life, making his eventual access to power difficult to explain. Epstein began his professional life as a high school mathematics teacher, a role far removed from global finance. Within a short period, he transitioned into elite financial circles without clear qualifications or a transparent career path. This abrupt change raised questions that still remain unanswered. Many have wondered who sponsored him, who trusted him, and why. Unlike traditional financiers, Epstein did not build his reputation through public success or widely known investments. His sudden entry into high finance remains one of the first major red flags in his story. Despite limited public business activity, Epstein accumulated enormous wealth. He owned luxury properties in New York, Florida, New Mexico, Paris, and a private Caribbean island. He also operated private jets and maintained an extravagant lifestyle. Yet there was no clear explanation for how he earned this money. Epstein did not manage large hedge funds or public portfolios. This lack of financial transparency fueled speculation and suspicion. For many observers, his unexplained wealth suggested that money alone was not his primary source of power. Epstein's influence stemmed largely from his relationships. He associated with politicians, billionaires, academics, royalty, and cultural leaders. While association does not imply guilt, the scale of these connections was alarming. Epstein attended exclusive gatherings and private meetings usually reserved for the world's most influential figures. His ability to move freely within elite circles suggested protection and acceptance. These connections later became central to public concern, as many questioned how someone facing serious allegations could maintain such access. More than money, Epstein appeared to trade in access and influence. By connecting powerful individuals and positioning himself as a facilitator, he gained leverage. In elite environments, information and favors are forms of currency. Those who control them can gain extraordinary protection. Epstein's role as a connector may explain why he remained shielded for so long. Influence, unlike money, leaves fewer paper trails, making it harder to investigate or challenge. In the early 2000s, Epstein's carefully constructed image began to unravel. Allegations emerged accusing him of sexually abusing underage girls. These claims described manipulation, coercion, and exploitation. What disturbed investigators was not just the severity, but the consistency of the stories. The allegations suggested repeated behavior rather than isolated incidents. This marked the beginning of Epstein's public downfall, although accountability would still be delayed for years. As more victims came forward, a clear pattern became visible. Many described being recruited through promises of money or opportunities, then pressured into silence. Some alleged being introduced to other powerful individuals. These accounts were strikingly similar strengthening their credibility. Despite this, the response from authorities remained limited. The growing number of victims made it increasingly difficult to dismiss the accusations as isolated or exaggerated. In 2008, Epstein reached a plea deal that shocked legal experts. Despite facing serious charges involving minors, he received an unusually lenient sentence. He served minimal jail time with work release privileges and avoided federal prosecution. Even more controversial, the deal protected potential accomplices from investigation. This agreement became a defining moment, symbolizing how wealth and influence can reshape justice. For many victims, it felt like betrayal by the legal system. After serving his limited sentence, Epstein returned to a life of luxury. He continued traveling, hosting guests, and operating within elite circles. For victims, this period was especially painful. It reinforced the perception that Epstein was untouchable. The absence of consequences sent a troubling message. Accountability could be avoided if one had enough power and connections. In 2019, federal authorities arrested Epstein on sex trafficking charges. This time, the investigation appeared more serious and far-reaching. Many believed the truth would finally emerge. There was renewed hope that names would be revealed and systems exposed. The arrest marked what seemed like a turning point after years of silence and delay. Only weeks after his arrest, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. Authorities ruled his death a suicide. Almost immediately, doubts emerged. Reports revealed broken cameras, ignored protocols, and guard failures. These circumstances fueled suspicion and disbelief. Regardless of the official ruling, the timing of his death ensured that many questions would remain unanswered. The public response to Epstein's death was swift and intense. Social media exploded with skepticism. The phrase "Epstein didn't kill himself" became a symbol of institutional distrust. Whether based on facts or perception, confidence in the justice system collapsed further. Epstein's death deepened the sense that powerful interests were protected at all costs. With Epstein gone, many critical questions died with him. Who enabled him? Who protected him? Who else was involved? Without a full trial, these answers may never surface. The absence of closure ensured that speculation and frustration would persist. For many, this represented justice denied rather than justice delayed. Although Epstein is dead, the victims remain. Many continue to seek accountability, recognition, and closure. Civil cases and investigations have continued, but the emotional damage cannot be undone. Their voices remind the public that this case is not abstract. It involves real harm, real trauma, and real lives affected by institutional failure. Jeffrey Epstein has become a symbol of systemic breakdown. His case exposed how institutions can fail when faced with extreme wealth and influence. It revealed gaps in oversight, accountability, and moral courage. Epstein was not just an individual criminal. He was a product of a system that allowed abuse to continue unchecked. Epstein's story remains relevant because the underlying issues remain unresolved. Power, privilege, and silence still shape outcomes in many societies. Until accountability becomes consistent and transparent, stories like this will continue to resurface. Epstein's case forces society to confront uncomfortable truths about justice and inequality. Jeffrey Epstein was one man, but his story represents something much larger. His rise, protection, and death reveal how power can distort justice and silence victims. The real issue is not how he died, but how he was allowed to operate for decades. Until systems change, his story will continue to haunt public memory.